Okay. I might need to look at it later. I won't be here. Guess we got some stomach flu going on or something. And Mike's got a big presentation, so let's sing a few songs and then maybe we can get Chuck to lead us in prayer and Mike, and then we'll go from there. Okay? Let's start with 839. 839. You got one you want to sing, and hold your hand up right there. In His time, He makes all things beautiful in His time. Lord, please show me every day as You're teaching me your way, that You do just what You say in Your time. In Your time, in Your time, You make all things beautiful in Your time. Lord, my life to You I bring, may each song I have to sing be to You a lovely thing in Your time. Pray together. God and our Father, we're thankful for this evening that we have to come join each other and sing songs together and listen to a presentation about Your work in India. Father, help us to listen carefully and realize, Father, that life is much different in other parts of the world, and we need to be sympathetic to those and help when we can. Father, we pray that they also hear Your word and they can respond and be one of Your children as we are. Father, we pray for the many that we have listened tonight. You know, Father, many of them have illnesses. Father, we pray for their health, that they can regain their health. You know, Father, that They deserve to be here. Father, we pray for those many that are traveling, that you, Father, give them safe journeys to their destinations and return. Be with our country, Father. Many, Father, appears are working against freedom and working against your will. Help us, Father, to unite as a country, to teach your word in all settings, and to, Father, be a country that's recognized as a Christian nation. Father, we pray for those around the world that are suffering, that are hungry. Father, let us realize our opportunities and serve where we can. Be with Steve as he gets our songs, Michael as he brings this presentation. In Jesus I pray, amen.
Sing 700. 700. More love to thee, O Christ, more love to thee. Hear thou the prayer I make on bended knee. This is my earnest plea. More love Christ to thee, more love to thee, more love to thee. Then shall my latest breath whisper thy praise. With thee a parting cry, my heart shall raise. This is most freshly more than the Christ to thee, more love to thee, more love to thee. 722. I should have went over that song before. 722. Let the beauty of Jesus be seen in me, all his wonderful passion and purity. Make the Spirit divine, all my being refine. Let the beauty of Jesus be seen in me. When somebody has been so unkind to you, some words spoken that pierces you through and through, think of he was begun, spread upon me blood. Let the beauty of Jesus be seen in you. From the dawn of the morning till the close of day, in his and holy deeds, and in all you say. Great glory and esteem, ever strive to keep sweet. Let the beauty of Jesus be seen in you. $679. $679. It's so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take him at his word, just to rest upon his promise, just to know thus saith the Lord. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust him, how I prove him more and more. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust him more. Oh, how sweet to trust in Jesus, just to trust his cleansing blood, just in simple faith to plunge me neath the healing cleansing flood. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust him, how I prove him more and more. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust him more. I'm so glad I learned to trust thee, precious Jesus, Savior, friend. And I know that thou art with me, will be with me to the end. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust him, how I prove him more and more. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust him more. Someone have another one they want? Okay. Our invitation song will be 944. And before Mike's lesson, let's sing 851. $851. Some glad morning when this life is o'er, I fly away to our home on God's celestial shore. I fly away. I fly away, oh glory. I fly away. When my God, hallelujah, my, I'll fly away. When my shadows are beside the throne, I'll fly away. Like a bird from crimson bars of flown, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, by, hallelujah, by, I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
I said this was kind of unfair. Y'all have never heard me give a devotional. Y'all have never got the opportunity to hear me teach a class or do any of this. And now I get to do a PowerPoint, which I've never done before. And add a little pain to the injury of doing PowerPoint. Whenever Manny sent it to Austin, we download it to my computer, my notes offer slide 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which are numbered. But to have them numbered here, I've got to have the two different screens on here. And so I would have two different layouts, which might confuse my mind. So I have him take off that. So what we're looking at tonight will not have any numbers to it. So I'll have numbers on my notes with no numbers on my PowerPoint. So as you'll be seeing on here, I'll be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, trying to keep up where my notes are. To start off with, I would like to thank, even though they're not here, Bo and Tiffany for having us out to our house. They're wonderful hosts. We had a wonderful meal and fellowship with them that Sunday, and Bo downloaded this and helped set this up where this could be possible. I would like to thank the congregation for the opportunity to look further at this mission work. And I know being here early at this congregation with the EEM mission work is something that this congregation is focused upon. When it was brought up in the business meeting the other day, I did not plan for me to be up here doing a presentation. I wish Manny could be here in person because he is involved in the work. That's his passion. That's his life. He could explain it so much better than I could. But on that, I'm going to give you a couple little histories. In 1972, my dad was living in Mississippi, and he and Brother Brochelle went to India. They were one of the first two preachers to go to India from the Church of Christ. And he spent about a month over there. So I was 5 years old. Even at 5 years old, coming back, the information that he was telling of what was going on there and what was happening and how fertile the fields were and how gracious the people were when you did things for them. Even at the young age of 5, I understood how great work could be done there. Now, a little history about Manny. Manny has got a degree to be a doctor. Now, he still does a little doctoring work. I mean, a physical doctor is what I'm talking about. But he resigned from being a full-time doctor to come to the United States to go to Bear Valley. And that he, after graduating Bear Valley and going back, has got the encouragement, the material, the support, the backing of Bear Valley to do what he's doing over there in India. They're training preachers, local preachers. And I kind of would give you an example. Would you be able to listen better to someone like Jared that is trained to do more preaching, or someone like Chris, or someone like Ernie? Or would you be able to listen better from someone that came from Australia and tried to start planning congregations here? You can understand and listen to your local cultures a little bit better. So that's Manny's plan, and that's working very well. Manny, within doing this, also has talked to other people, and they have started setting up other programs to do some outreach ministries and to help and serve during the communities. And that as you know, a lot of times, if you do something for somebody, if you feed that family, if you help that family in their financial struggles, if you help that family when they've lost that loved one, their hearts are more receptive a lot of times than when you have it. Now we'll start looking at some of these presentations. And Steve asked me, how long going to take? I said, anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. I don't know. I haven't done this. I don't have a clue exactly how long it will take. And there we go. Mission India Outreach 2016. Now, as I do this, I will take an opportunity once I get done with the presentation to let Steve sing a song. And then if there's any questions immediately that you think you may want to ask, maybe I can answer them right now. If not, I'll make notes and we'll get with Manny so I can get back some further information up on it. And he has written down some scriptures within this. Then a lot of time we'll do a little devotional at the end with the invitation. But within the mission works, in slides 1 through 5, we will look at about some of the populations within India. Wrong way. There we go. And you see that crowded area right there. Does anybody know what that would be? That's a train depot. Look at them riding the train right there. You see me, that man walking right there, he's probably running trying to get on. They don't stop. Imagine trying to get around that direction. 1.34 billion people in India. That's in 2011. I did a little research. 1.34 billion people in India own 218,378 acres is what they live on. In the United States, we have 318,900,000 people in the United States, and we live on 2.3 billion acres. So you can see how the population is much more crowded. And part of the reason it gets so crowded is one thing they do in India, they have about 90 babies per day. Their cultural way of thinking, I'm sorry, my wife is trying to help me out. Do what? Well, too loud?
You said 90, it was 90,000.
90,000. Don't critique every single word I said. People can read and say what I'm going to make mistakes. But 90,000 babies per day. But in India's way of thinking, in general, women are used. Women are objects. Women are used for things. And one of the things they're used for, you have babies. That's just their kind of cultural way of thinking. If we look in these slides 6 through 13 that we're fixing to look at in a minute, look at some of the different religious breakdowns. Now, I'm not going to read all the ones within below because you see it just talks about a few of them. But Hinduism is 89.01%. So most of the people are Hindu believing. And the government is Hindu ran. And that brings up some conflicts, as we will see a little bit later on. In Islam, and we've heard a lot of talk about Islam, about what's going on in Islam and the way that they think and how evil and corrupt those group of people are. 1.7% Christians. And when we say this Christians, those are ones that believe in God as God should be, as we would kind of call Christians within the United States. 0.06% is of the Lord's church. So, within that, what does that kind of tell you? If there's that small percentage, it's a very, very fertile fields in India, very many opportunities. At this rate right now, when he first presented this out in current day, there would be about 1 million Christians. Do y'all remember what I said the population in India was? 134 billion. 1 million Christians to 134 billion people. That means for every Christian, one Christian is responsible to try to get in contact and touch with 1,693 souls. That's a lot of people to try to talk to and influence. You've done a lot of Bible studies, Ernie, but have you done that many in your lifetime? That's a lot, isn't it? That's for every individual Christian. And think, some are old, some are young, some are not much in knowledge. And as you been talking about in Revelation, some of the struggles that they have in those early churches, it's because of their youth as far as their being churches when it all spread. That's some of the struggles they have there. And this breaks down the different amount, and this shows you the urgency of it. At the growth rate of 18 million growth that we did, there's 458,000 villages without any Christians in those villages at all. This just goes on to tell a little bit more about that database that comes from. And at the rate of population, they are not right now. China is the largest country, but they believe at 2025 that India is projected to be the largest population of any country in the world. And with that, that means that there will be the largest Hindu country, the largest Muslim country, and the country with the most population. So that shows how great of an opportunity that there is within that. And this is one of the ones we'll come to as far as if we have time for that he brought out. Look at this presentation here real close. These are all the different works and missions that they have. And we're not going to read all these off because we will cover each one of these. But as you read there are 7. And also, if anybody would like to get in touch with Manny directly, he has an email address link that you can get in touch with him. And I'm friends with him on Facebook. You can get in touch with him there. Then you can become on Facebook. There's some things I'm going to cover that has happened since this presentation that I've talked to you about. They have a TV program. And you think, well, we hear about TV evangelism. Of course, we know if it's operation through a Church of Christ, kind of like Search of the Lord's Way, it's going to be done right. Well, this TV program is awesome because, I'm not going to read your name, but 3, 6, 9 sets of country that are getting the gospel spread to it through this television program. Well, you may think, well, how good can that work? Look at this one family right here. This man holding the boy was a preacher of a independent Pentecostal church, and he was first to be converted after watching our TV program several months. He in turn baptized 25 of his members. They have a church building and simply changed the name to Church of Christ. Watching these TV programs. And these are some of the costs about it. It's about $15 per month, $1,500 per month, and it's fully funded. But the only thing else that is extra needed is sometimes is Bible expenses and tract, because people like men of this congregation that is transplanted, you know, like when you have prison ministries and you have other ministries outreach, a lot of times you're limited in how you can personally get to those fields. But if you have information track and materials where they can do lessons and studies, that is awesome outreach. Preacher training program. This tells, and he has scripture with it, but you're going to see how awesome the preacher training program is. I don't know exactly what each preacher training program is, but I was at a preacher training program in 87. There was probably about that time about 15 men and about 3 women. So there was 18 at that particular one. That was about the average 20 to 25 per class. I counted a number around 50 something there at that one that's going on right now. And this is a cost of $3,600. What can it do? It can train an evangelist for 3 years, 5,616 hours of hands-on evangelism, 4,212 hours of classroom instruction, plant at least 1 congregation. And I figured it up, and you know how much that is per week? That's $63 per week. So that's not much to do a work like that. This one right here, I'm not going to read this, but you see that man circled there? He is one of the ones that was in preacher training. He was beaten to death because he was preaching the gospel. See the man on the left? He was beaten bad. You see the man on the right? He was beaten so bad when he knocked on his front door, his wife turned him away because she thought he was a beggar. She didn't even recognize him. All right, this is the preacher training meeting in group right there. As you see, not a lot of air conditioner, doors open. It gets pretty hot there, pretty cold there when they do it. What do you think's going on right there? I want somebody to try to guess. What do you think's going on right there? Does that look back at that building that you placed us all just a second ago? What does that look like? Look at the picture. Does that look like the same building? Jared, what do you think's going on right there? I'm fixing to tell you. The current students of this church building are their home and they sleep on the floors. All right. I wish Chris was here to ask him. Anyone that's going to preacher training school, I would guarantee they didn't live 50 men in not much building right here, sleep on the floors. They're going to sleep on floors, sleep on top of the roofs because it got so hot and they're just trying to get a cool night's sleep. This is the ground that they have purchased that once they get more funding that they're going to get to give them more better housing, apartment staying. They have 47 full-time students, and this is the different criteria of the students with their kids and with what's going on, total of 134. All right, remember I showed you a list of about 54? Let's say there's the same amount within this. There's probably more. Those are ones that's waiting. That's another list of groups that's waiting. Those are 3 groups of ones that are waiting. Those are not repeat lists. And these are different ones that some have college degrees, some were former denominational leaders from other congregations, some were political leaders, and former Hindu priests. There were 3 of them that are current students. Current preacher training program, monthly support for 15 students needed, $100 per month per student. That's not much. Students apartment construction, $2,100 per unit, raising funds for 30 units. So how stuff over there, they get paid less for stuff. It costs a lot less to build things. Clean water project. Would you think that clean water would be so important that you could spread the gospel because of clean water? They really got involved in this, and you'll see part of the reason why. The first village had 500 deaths in around 2 years because of the water. And that you can see some of the chemicals that they put into water. Some of these chemicals may not be so bad, but when you put to the level that they do, it ends up poisoning water. And you've heard probably or possibly a lot of these foreign countries don't drink the water. That's a fact. The people come to get the fresh water. They have a water plant system set up that can give them the fresh water. And it's got the Church of Christ name, and it's got the Royal plant name to it. And that stands for reservoir osmosis. And that's part of the reason for that. And this is one of the districts, and I'm not going to talk about that. But look at that picture right there. You see that baby? This is a 21-year-old man from drinking the water. That talks a little bit about it. All right, look at this picture right here. Just stare at it for a second before I say anything. All right, if you look at that picture there, you saw a lady was getting water, a man was taking a bath, someone was washing their clothes on the rocks, a man was giving his water buffalo bath. There was a path on the other side that people were walking through, all these activities. Imagine drinking that water. Imagine drinking that water. Imagine going to your local fishing pond where all the kids playing and people decide to take bath or whatever, and the cows walk in. That's your only drinking water. And this just shows you the depths that they go to try to even get water. So within this, it is fully paid for, but each plant costs $20,000. It produces 15,000 gallons an hour on each. At least 50,000 people are directly benefited. Well, within these needs, when people realize they don't have to drink the bad water, they saw one son that's crippled, but their future kids and grandkids aren't going to be. What do you think that does to their heart? And this is scripture about living water, which we may focus on in a minute. There's a disaster that happens everywhere. It happens in India just as it happens here. They do their best to help within disaster reliefs. Within, and how you would say that, Bihar, I believe is how you would say that, the students are falling up in Bihar. That's where they had one of their recent major disaster. I don't know which type it was. But efforts in Bihar, 4 congregations were planted. 18 months ago, no Christians here. Today, there are 70. Many more studies going on. Well, how can we help within that? More information, more tracts, more materials to give them. They have a Christian academy being set up. And, you know, in the EEM, you mentioned about, what's that man's name that deals with that mainly, Ernie? Ben. How he was talking about how you take them to these schools and they're just basically opening their doors and wanting to have this happen. They kick Bibles out of most school systems, especially if they're public. They've tried to kick prayer with that. Well, you see these students that's going on there? We have permission to teach Bible along with secular education to these young people. We have made an inroad to reaching out to their families. Mama, Daddy, did you know there's a man that died on the cross to save us? What? Who's this man? Minnie Rose. And a lot of these kids are Hindu and Muslims. They're providing lunches and the teachings Monday through Saturday. They've got land and they're wanting to get more land because think of it this way. In the United States, where have they kicked the Bibles and prayers out? Is it private schools? Is it so-called Christian schools? It's the public schools, right? These buildings that they're having to do this teaching right now, they're not the private ones. They're public ones. Just think if a congregation can build a building and start teaching these kids in their own building, that gets the Hindu government out of the way. I was talking about he had medical training. He was a doctor. Healing bodies, you start healing souls. This is where they're building some medical facilities, and they have mobile clinics. One thing that's great about this, if you come to someone, have someone come to you, and they have a loved one that has been hurt in some of these disasters, that has been in a building that's been burned down, that was orphanage, or that was a widow's saving house, and that was burned down by the government, or you have a child that has strep throat that's turning to high fever, and they can't get help from anywhere else, and they go to these Christian people that's volunteering their time, no charge. How do you think that's going to open that door? Look at that young child right there. Those are burns. Space available for clinic and major surgery. They need supplies, vaccination, and other things. Bridge to Hope. This is an awesome program. All right, I'm going to pick on somebody here. Dwight, what is the greatest scripture that we can do is to take care of who? And the widows and the orphans. All right, as I flum through these, you see that picture right there? I'll tell you what's going on in these pictures right here. I'm going to just pass on through this because I want to just tell you Let's stop right here. Chuck, you passed away before she does. Under Hindu belief, do you have any idea what she must do under Hindu belief? She must have her family burn her at your grave, in your grave, because every hair that you got on your body, 100,000, whatever it is, that's how many years she will be saved in salvation by being burned. They believe that. The women are falling for that because that's kind of what they've been taught, what they've been believed. And you know what will happen? She refuses to try to walk away and they catch her. Guess what? They burn her anyway. Widow women, it's their fault because their husbands died first. And it doesn't matter how old that they are. We have 309 needed widows. 41 of them are very young. 104 orphans from Christian homes. This is Bridge to Hope. I said this is awesome. Listen to this right here. Each orphan is assigned to a widow in residence. Orphans are being educated at our academy. Medicine care is provided through our medical clinics. Christian psychologists will be making regular visits. This is a place to build another one. Just need some funding. All right, I'm going to stop here for 1 second because we're talking about widows. I know 3 of these people, but I don't know the others, but I'm just guessing. The man on the far left is Manny. The man in the kind of the blue shirt, and of course, only a man there, that's his dad. The woman next to him, I'm pretty sure is his mom because I've seen them in pictures quite a bit, and I've seen them in arm. So I'm pretty sure, it doesn't say, that's probably a widow, and those are probably 2 orphans. Look how they're sewing clothing for the orphans and the widows. Look what doors that opened. Look what doors that opened. Bridge to Hope. And this here talks about the different costs, which we can get in some of those again later on, but because of time, I'm going a little before that. Massacre of Christians. Doors open. Different amount of Christians being, good things being done. This is a missionary. He and his whole family was burnt. That young woman, one of the orphans' homes that was burnt down. That's the one they burnt, the orphan home. Famine. When there's famine, when there's destruction, when there's so much hurt going on, opportunity for outreach. These are different ones that have either died or seriously been hurt for spreading the gospel. And this here, I'm going to update this just a little bit. Manny, I asked him the other day, he sent me a text message. 23 congregations had been planted as of current. And that number, as far as this morning, because he knew I was trying to do this presentation night, 2,000 as far as this morning. That's just pictures of some of the wonderful baptism. This right here, you see that massive deal? Hindus have a yearly pilgrimage on the bank of the river Ganges. Each year, that number is increasing. Last year is about 120 million. This year is about 200. Help us blanket India with the gospel. Those are all the works. Now, I'm going to get into a few things that y'all have at least heard me talk about that's not on this particular presentation here. And then we'll let Steve lead a song, and then there may not be any questions. Nobody may not feel comfortable. Come up to questions with me later. Write them down. Give them to me. Like I said, if I can't give adequate answers, then we'll get with Manny, and hopefully he can. But y'all have heard someone talk about the money that the government delinquished where it's no longer any good. I found out it's the highest 2 denominations. Banks cannot give out money for support that they should. People's old paychecks, they're not getting them. A man could not bury his wife that died while they were waiting in line. She starved to death. A mother had a baby die in her arms. A Christian lady died while waiting in line. They got so frustrated the other day that when the bank could not give any money, the people stormed the bank people to start to beat them. She got trampled. She died of a heart attack. But then all these people that are going through these struggles, they're not eating. So guess what? New Doors opened up. Now they're starting to feed people. Droves are coming in. And in the last month, that number has grown faster probably than others. There has been over 50 in this last month because of all these outreach. Christmas Day, 6 people travel over 100 miles on Christmas Day when they knew about the good that was being done from these people who want to become Christians. And one more did it this morning when he realized what they did. My heart goes out to it strongly. And I know we did some good work and we were, that's originally brought up in there. And I'm not saying that we're going to do anything. I pray that we probably will. But irregardless, as Manny always says, if there's not one penny that can be given, your heart can pray every single day. Because sometimes we get frustrated when our cars break down. We get a little frustrated when we go to our refrigerator and all we have is half a package of bologna and one piece of bread on the shelf. People are starving to death. How many orphanages have we burnt down in the United States? Steve, lead us on, and we'll give the opportunity for any questions that there might be.
$624. $624. Seeking the lost, yes, having free, wanderers on the mountain astray. Come unto me, his message right things, word of the Master, seeking today.
Going afar upon the mountain, bringing the wonder back again into the fold of my Redeemer, Jesus the Lamb, for sinners slain.
Seeking the lost,
Turn point to Jesus, so that we can hearts that are sore,
leading forth in
the salvation, showing the hand to near more, going afar upon the mountain, bring the wonder back again into the fold of my Redeemer, Jesus the Lamb, for sinners saved. Go on, nations of mercy, following Christ day after day, cheering the faith and praising the fallen, pointing the lost to Jesus the way, going afar upon the mountain, bringing the wonder back again into the fold of my Redeemer, Jesus the Lamb, for sinners slain. Like I said, there may not be, you may not be comfortable even asking at this time, but I would at least like to give it while it's fresh on your mind. And I've made gobs of notes, and this is my second bill of notes. I didn't even look at my notes one time because I've looked over and I at least know the basic stories. But is there any questions?
What is are the ones that go over there as missionaries, are they free to preach the gospel without the government getting involved with the
You mean like from the United States to go over there?
anybody?
Anybody?
Basically from the United States, but I mean, if we were to send money to a missionary going over there, what is he going to be up against?
Well, right now, with the way the government's getting more tight down, people leaving out, people going in is definitely limited and restricted. So even somebody going over there from the United States right now may be on hold for quite a while because with what's going on. Now, back a few years back and several months back, and definitely a few years ago, travel was at least reasonable. But like I said, going back to the time of Revelations, that's what the book, of Revelations, of course, is about to the early Christians. As they were spreading, what did government people try to do? They tried to put oppression and stuff upon them. That's happened a lot there. And that's the reason you're seeing the money tighten down like it's tightened down. That's the reason you're seeing orphanages start to be burned more. That's the reason they're starting to burn more widow women than what they used to. That's the reason that they're poisoning more water than what they used to, because they're trying to hinder this and stop them coming in. Now, could someone go over there? Now, would the government just go and do things to them? There's a chance they go in there, chance nothing can happen. But there's a chance that they could be their life taken. So what is focused on now, and that's part of the reason Manny has got the training and has gotten the ones that helps them to do this training. They're doing a training work program there to train their local people is what they're doing.
Well, part of what I'm asking is, do you have to register with the government when you go over there as just
That part I can answer.
tourist, or as if you're going to go over there and try to be a missionary? That's what I'm wondering, if there's different.
That part I couldn't answer you. That would be one I would. In fact, well, I'm gonna ask Manny on that one.
Manny is I assume is an Indian, right? He's from India.
He's born in India. He's from India.
Being a native, he may have better options.
That's part of the reason that they're wanting to try to grow it there more so than, like I said, than people going over. And like I said, up till most recent, I mean, they, like when my dad went over in 72, they may frown at them. They may not like it, but they're not going to put them through the persecution that they would now. And I'm not saying that they can't, but it definitely has, tailed back. It's more mission training for locals, local speaking, and don't have to have a translator, people that's lived there, people that knows what it's like to have Hindu family members, people that knows this. That's more what they're focusing them on now, and that's what their training program is. It's not training stuff to Bear Valley or any of these ones over here to send somebody over there. It's money to send over there to train the locals to become preachers over there.
I got another question.
Right.
Somebody else asked, but I'm not sure. I thought you did a great. I really appreciate Brent saying that you did a great job. I wasn't sure whether you were saying that the government is stepping in on burning widows and taking and keeping confiscating money and that kind of thing.
I can answer that.
But is that everybody, or is that the Christians? Is that anybody but Hindus? That's what I didn't understand. Exactly what you were.
Okay. Let me write this one question down before I forget, because
Okay.
I won't be able to ask Manny on this one. missionaries. Okay, on what you're asking me right there, the government taking that money back, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a government official. It doesn't matter if you're a bank owner. It doesn't matter if you're a Hindu believer. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian believer. That money is no good. It'd be like the United States saying right now, every $100 bill and every $50 bill, no matter where it's at, it's not worth anything. Period. Monday morning. Now, on the side about the burning the building, no, it's not the government doing that. As far as the widows being burnt, no, it's not the government doing that. But the government is a Hindu government, and Hindus believe that orphans are a weight on people because they can't work and can provide for themselves and their families not. So it's just dragging down their society. So let's get rid of their homes and them. And they believe these widows, in their mind, it's their fault, for number one. And number two, if their husbands was making the means for them to survive, now well, they're going to become a burden. So it's the Hindu belief, Hindu religion. If you're orphan, if you're a widow, you're marked. You're dead. That's Hindu belief. That's Hindu religion. And that Hindu is who runs the government. Now, that's not saying that government sometimes doesn't get involved kind of where they shouldn't get involved, because you know, even in the United States, there's corrupt county officials. There's places where they've done stuff that they thought was their way to rule the law, and they beat people like they used to beat blacks back years ago, and some of them justify themselves. So that's not saying government doesn't get involved in doing some of these things, but it's not a government forced government. That part's not. That's just their belief within general. So the only way you kind of get away from that is come in sanctuary of Christian belief. Did I answer that well enough now, or?
Yeah, my only question would be, does the gender of the orphan have anything to do with how they're treated? In other words, do they treat the male orphans different than the females, or the females different than the males? Okay.
No, you could have, like we got boys' home, I believe, at Tipton, or one of the homes is just Westview. Westview is a strictly boys' home. If that's a Hindu group and they were down there and they felt like that group was pulling from their economic situation right there, and there was 5 Hindu believing men, they would go out in the middle of that night and burn that to ground and hopefully kill every single one of them. That would be their desire. I mean, and they know every single one of them is their boy. So that part doesn't matter. They're orphaned. To them, they become a drag on them in society. The women, it's just belief in, like I said, I can't say I understand how I can believe it. It becomes a woman's fault because a man died first. That's mainly what that kind of boils down to. It's her fault that her husband died first.
Where? I said somebody else.
Ask away. Ask away. Because you're good at this anyway, so you're going to have good questions, so keep going.
Well, the other thing I'm wondering is now there's, you threw out a lot of figures on there. There's about 25 congregations there. Is that, whatever the number is,
I think it's 23 congregations right now.
whatever that number is. Is there a, is Manny in charge of allocating money to the 25, or if we were to help support India, would we support a congregation, or we would support a man, or do we send money to Manny? How is the organization set up for money?
Manny's not the only one that decides where the money goes. He has, of course, a lot of influence within it because he's directly involved and he knows what's going on, where the need is most needed. Now, if you send money as a congregation, they have a local bank account over here that we can put in so they can do the draft to them, so it doesn't affect what the government's trying to do. So that part won't affect it. But like Jeannie and I, when we were worshiping over at Tuttle, total congregation supported, but we ourselves did different amount that we allocate each month for strictly the preaching program. Now, it didn't go for one particular man. It just went for the preaching program. Now, if we decide that we wanted to support, want to help in any certain way, then we would just need to let Manny know this, when you see this check come in from Breeze Creek, and we would notate on it needs to go strictly for this, or it would be broken down, or it will go where the biggest need is needed at that moment.
So where's the money going? I mean, the government is taking it from the bank, or just money that people have?
No. All right. So you had, like I said, $100 and $50 in your wallet right now, and you have some 20s. You go tomorrow to buy some late after Christmas presents, and it's going to cost you $200. And you have two 20s, 50, but you knew it cost $200, and you're fine. You're going to go buy that because you got your $200 in your wallet. Guess what? You go up to, you can't buy it because all you've got is $50 now. All right. Your paycheck's coming from the bank, and like a lot of our banks have, the money's not actually there. It's in investments here and there, kind of almost a fake money floating around. In India, a lot of times they have money. If that bank was stocked up with $100,000 and $8,000 was small currency, and or however much I was saying, the bigger amount was that part right there, it's worth nothing. That's just what they did. Just that Monday morning, boom, 8 o'clock, this money's worth nothing. And it will not come back into currency. And you cannot take that old money and trade it for some other money. It's worth nothing. Kind of like when they did with Confederate money. It's just worth nothing. And nobody knew it was going to happen except for the few high-ranking government officials, which they probably traded their bigger money for some smaller monies before they did that.
So you don't want to do anything with a particular currency, denominations that they've eliminated.
No, you can't. It does you no good. Are you confused on what I'm saying there?
I'm always dazed.
No, it's just paper now is all it is. It's just paper. Those bills.
What they're saying is, I think what the concern is if you send money over there, does it become worthless, right? Because it's the Indian.
No. Because there is quite a bit of the other denominational currencies that's out there. So when Manny's able to get it within his draft, it doesn't affect anything he does. He can bring it in under that currency. Like, for example, I'll use you and me, for example. I'll work for you for a week. And before I work for you, Dwight, I tell you, I want you to pay me in 25s and 10s or 1s. We've got that agreement. You pay me in 25s, 10s, and 1s. But if I hadn't made that agreement beforehand, guess what? I lost that money. Well, it may affect it a little bit that they had, but knowing what's going on now, they're able to. But what affects more people on that is the people that's going in that are poor. That's what they're going to live off of, is this money they're going to get from the bank. But no, I was assured that any money that they are getting or that they get from over here, and that's part of the reason with it being within over here in these banks, that it will not affect any money that's been sent to them. Anything else?
I'll be honest with you, I don't understand now. I thought I did, but I'm not sure I understand exactly what's going on here.
You mean as far as the money part?
Yeah, what you said, I'm not sure I understand.
Or what they need us to do? Or
No, I'm not sure I understand. It sounds like what you said is that the banks have gone out and said your 20s, your 5s, your 10s are not any good.
no, it's the higher ones that they.
Whatever it is.
Right.
Not any good. So anybody that's got whatever that denominational bill, it's not any good. They
Right.
can't do anything with it.
Right. That is correct.
So are you saying then that the money that's being sent over there, Fannie's gonna make sure that it's not in that denomination?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and you can do that. And if more people over there knew how to handle their business, but and you think of it this way in India too. You've got here in the United States, you got rich, you got medium, and you got poor. Over there, you got rich and you got poor. So the richer ones probably have some finesse to kind of finagle around this somewhat. But when you're poor and you don't get your money, that's where that struggle is right there. But if you know how to work systems, you know how to get around, you know how to ask, you can when you go to Walmart, you can say, I won't get money back. You can say, I want you to give me all ones. You can ask for stuff like that. There's still a reasonable amount of that type of money. So you can know how to get, but if you don't know how to ask and you don't know how to draw the money, you don't know to leave it over here until things calm down. See, all they had was right there, the local people. But Manny's got most of the money here until it's allocated as it's needed.
Well, if they designated certain bills being worthless, then why would any business be dealing them out anyway, unless they're just trying to get rid of them?
They're not now at this point. They're not dealing out those higher amounts of money.
So if I've got a billfold full of that in my pocket right now, I might as well just go ahead and just burn it.
Yeah.
Because I can't do anything with it.
Yeah. Unless somehow they change their mind later on.
Somebody else giving you change or whatever it is back in that kind of bogus money.
Right. That is true. It does make it a struggle, but like I said, I got assured that the money that they are getting from here, because they have the accounts here, it's not going to affect. In other words, I'll just use a number. If we sent them $1,000, they're not going to get 10 $100 bills that's worth nothing. They're going to be able to get it in the way they need to get it to be able to use it.
That's just another reason not to shop at Walmart.
Well, basically, what you're saying is the uneducated are the ones to try to get rid of.
Mm-hmm. Because the Hindu government, most of those people aren't poor, right? You wouldn't guess, right? So if you eliminate the orphans, if you eliminate the widows, if we cut off the money supply to all the poor, if you cut off their food supply, if you poison their water, and you start getting rid of all those people, this country that's got 1.34 billion or 1.44 billion people, guess what? Now we're down to 800 million people, and all these poor, worthless people that's getting on our burden are out of the way. And now, guess what? We can live our Hindu lives with our richer and luxuries as we want to. Then maybe we'll bring back that money. Maybe we'll quit poisoning waters at that point, once we beat these people into submissions. And the more that the Christians are spreading, the more things they're going to try. So, anyway. Anything else? Is it clear as mud now? The money thing is what really put a big kink on things here recently. But smart people know how to handle things, you know. And like I said, poor, uneducated, they don't. Smart people know, go buy water that's shipped in, and they got the money to buy water shipped in. The poor people, they go get it from where people are bathing and washing their cows in. You know, that's not very smart anyway right there. Whether you put poison water in there or not, it's not very smart to go get drinking water where a cow's just been in for several hours. So that's the sad part about it. Anything else?
Yeah, you said that women get burnt whenever their husbands die.
Yep.
Because it's their fault.
Yep.
Even if they have enough money to sustain themselves, they still get burned up.
That's what at least tries to get done by the Hindu religion.
I know a lot of them Hindus over there is really kind of wealthy, so if a wealthy Hindu family, if the head of the household dies, which is the husband, then I guess all the rest of them get burned.
If they've got 3 wives, yeah, they get burned no matter how wealthy they are. I mean, and a lot of those Hindu women, they believe and follow Hindu religion. So, I mean, their husband dies, they mourn that afternoon. They go lay down and get ready to be torched. I mean, they think nothing else about it. They think they're doing what they should do because that's what they've been raised to believe. So to them, they're not doing anything wrong. They're being saved because of what they do. Anything else? Yeah, I understand what your questions that you're asking are upon this. It's a struggle. And some of these would be better, like I said, if Manny could be here to do presentations himself. But I know it is a struggle over, that's for sure. And the more that there are struggles, the more that doors open. And just this one thought to it, like I said, even if we don't do anything financially, the one thing is you can do is you can pray. You can pray. So please pray for the situations over there. And that we never want to end the service without offering an invitation.
We could probably get some information from Total about the financial part. I would suggest that.
Okay. Well, actually, the information I've given to you, that's coming. And she's talking about fake, it is, but Linda Wynn, any of y'all know David and Linda Wynn? David's one of the elders over there, and Linda's the one that deals with actually Melanie. So Jeannie actually knows her quite well. So on that side, we'll at least try to see what we can find out more from Linda about the money situation, if she can help enlighten us even a little bit more. Anything else? Like I said, you never want to close the service without offering invitation, and that if a person is not a child, that's what these Indians are doing because of the oppression. And those of us that are Christian know that that's the greatest step that you can take. And if you're someone that they go through the physical struggles, but if you have put yourself in the struggles that's pulled you away from God and you need the prayers of the congregation, you need us to pray with you, stay with you, love on you, we ask you to come as we sing the song that's been selected.
What will you do with Jesus? The question comes to you, and you must give an answer for something you must do. What shall it be? What shall it be? What shall your answer be? What will you do with Jesus? Oh, what will your answer be? What will you do with Jesus who comes by night and day? With piercing hands uplifted, he waits, what will you say? What shall it be? What shall it be? What shall your answer be? What will you do with Jesus? Oh, what will your answer be? What will you do with Jesus? He's knocking at the door. Refuse him so no longer, lest he should be no more. What shall it be? What shall it be? What shall your answer be? What will you do with Jesus? Oh, what will your answer be? Let's close with 275. 275. Oh Lord, you're beautiful. Your face is all I see. And when your eyes are on this child, your grace abounds to thee. Oh Lord, you're beautiful. Your face is all I see. And when your eyes are on this child, your grace abounds to thee.
Let's pray. Father, in heaven, we're so thankful that you've allowed us to be here this evening and to listen to the presentation by Michael. We certainly pray for the work that's being done in India and for those who live under such strict guidelines of life, economy, and just living. And so we pray for those people, and we pray for Manny and the work that he's doing, for those that are supporting that work. Father, we pray for the Bridge Creek congregation here, and we pray that as we labor and toil, and as we look for opportunities, and as we give to opportunities that we've been able to help, that you'll continue to bless us, and guide us, and help in endeavor that we undertake. Thank you, Father, for your Son, for your love, for the congregation, for the sister congregation, for the church, wherever it may be. And Father, guide us, even those that are sick tonight, and for those that are unable to be here for whatever reason. We pray, Father, for the next point of time that you'll help all of us to gather here again. Be with us now until Sunday.
One quick other statement. If with me presenting anything, if y'all find out later, it's a little bit different than what I said, it's because my lack of misunderstanding a little bit.